DRose 600. He had a new mugshot that leaked on the internet. This is what he looked like now. A lot of people say DRose innocent. A lot of videos about him. I done did videos about him. You know, people always ask me, truth, look, be real. Cut all the bullshit out. Everybody just doing content. I want you to be honest. Is this guy innocent? Remember, I don't know him personally. I got an opportunity to interview and talk to him while he was locked up. What I can tell you is, from my perspective, I'm finna break some of it down for you. Hopefully this is the last time. The reason I'm doing this because his mugshot just leaked on the internet like yesterday. So hit the like button, subscribe to my YouTube channel. But a lot of people always ask me about DRose. There's new people entering the culture. So I'm going to break it down to you like this. Is he innocent? Okay, he was convicted with the murder of Denzel Richardson. He was like a 14-year-old boy. I think he was from like Taekwondo World. He was killed allegedly by DRose 600 riding down the street in a van. He slid the doors open and gunned him down. That's what the reports say. The innocent part, I was always confused about the innocent shit because I didn't really know, because he was pointed out and identified in the lineup. Not only that, one of Denzel's friends, I actually believe a couple of Denzel's friends, actually pointed him out in the lineup and identified against him. Later on, they changed their testimony and said, they didn't want to do that. They tried to take their testimony back. But, it was people that snitched on DRose, the victim friends that was there that said, look, the shooter, the motherfucker who was holding the gun was DRose. So once that happened, it's almost like a closed shut case to me, to be honest with you. So, I'm not saying he did it, but not only, did the evidence kind of lead to him, he was pointed out and identified in the lineup, and he was pointed out and identified by the suspects that was with Denzel when he died, Hey, that's DRose who did it. So that's hard to kind of beat a case when the person who was with the victim saying you shot him, okay? You feel me? Now, one thing I can say is that, the only people that kind of identified him was like the victim people and shit like that. When like his homies identified him, DRose stayed solid. A lot of people don't know this. It was other people with DRose, when this murder happened allegedly. And we don't know who those people is, but the internet tells stories of who those people is. But, he don't even motherfucker that got locked up for this case. As crazy as, I don't know if anybody else got locked up on this case, so please forgive me for that. But for what I know, he don't even motherfucker that caught the brunt of this case for Denzel, okay? So it kind of looked like he did it, Motherfuckers was pointing at him. They were beefing in the songs. He was known as a shooter, as a killer. Then there's rumors that a motherfucker just lied and put it on him because he was out there. Look, C-Day was known too. He was out there as a terrifying monster, Frankenstein, and everybody else. Why would he just pinpoint him out, Now, the reason I could say maybe he didn't do it, and the reason C-Day name might come back up, not to be, doing anything. This shit is public record. It's on the internet, According to reports, when you look in the paperwork, the police believe that the van that was used in the killing of Denzel, they believe that they seen like C-Day and them in his van like early and shit like that. That's in the paperwork. C-Day and them name came up in DRose murder case, okay? Cool. The crazy part is I can say is a lot of street niggas say he didn't do it. A lot of people say he didn't do it. So that's one reason I say he didn't do it. But then again, street niggas ride for their homies. A motherfucker say free a nigga and he been locked up for killing 20 kids. Motherfucker still say free bro. So I don't know if that means it. But what make me believe it is like 6-7 years ago, L.A. Capone's sister, she ain't got no fight in this shit. She ain't got no war in this shit. She ain't got no beef in this shit. She ain't got no reason to be in this shit. She did speak about, a situation between Breezy and DRose on the phone that kind of made it feel like maybe DRose innocent. So
Breezy even told DRose to snitch on C-Day so he could come home. Yeah. That's how you know I used to talk to them every day. I still got my 5S2. I'm going to go home and plug it up and see could I get the messages up out of them.
I don't really know, So if you was to ask me, I'm going to say, it's a 50-50 chance, I'm not sure on this case. This is one of the cases that's very confusing because even though people say he didn't do it, and, and it's people who wasn't even involved that say he didn't do it, and they ain't got no reason to lie. So, I believe he didn't do it. But the reason that's kind of hard on that is You know, people that was with Denzel when he died said Buddy ass had the gun. Buddy did it. You know, Buddy ass right there, dude right there. Yeah, him right now. Not him. Not. Hold up. Move him out the way. Dude. Yeah, move him out. Yeah, move him out the way. Him. Hold up. Move over, bro. Yeah, him. His ass did it. You know, they was with Denzel when he died. You know, they was part of this crowd that ran and shit. You know, so it's kind of hard. You know, so I can say this is a messed up case in my opinion. But this is an updated picture of him that just leaked on the internet. DRose look like he growing in there. He getting old in there, you know. That man was given 40 years for this case, you know. He was convicted in 2019. He got a lot more time coming, you know. So y'all got to be careful out here making these decisions when you young, you know. Because shit like this, man, is terrifying. He was young when this happened. This didn't happen, and this happened a long time ago, man. He was 17 years old when this murder happened. So when this happened, he was 17 and Denzel was 14. He looked like a grown-ass man now. You know, so I don't know, you know. I don't know to say free DRose or she'll keep him. I don't know, you know. I'm just here to say that's the story of DRose, you know. A lot of people say that's an innocent man that's locked up for a murder, and he only locked up because of his face. You know, he got a face. You know, subscribe to my YouTube channel. But he was identified by people that was at the crime scene. Him. Fucked up situation, you know. But the motherfuckers I can say that identified him recanted their stories, though, you know, so. You know, and a few of the people who testified, a person who testified is like a known gang member, street dude that be like in the neighborhood and shit from like Taekwondo World, allegedly. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, let's tell me the truth.